working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 11.
And what the scariest part was it stopped as soon as it tore across the school. It just stopped and sat there and was spinning next to the school, so you didn't know what it was really going to do next.
A destructive line of storms rips through Kentuckiana tonight. The death toll is now at 14 just in southern Indiana, with around a dozen more in other parts of Kentucky.
Wave 3 went on the air for the first time warning this morning and stayed on as residents got a first look at the damage. Tonight, a special extended newscast. Our live team coverage continues as rescue efforts ramp up throughout the coming days.
We begin by checking in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett, who is live in Henryville. Kevin.
Janelle and Dawn, it is a sad scene that's unfolding here in Clark County. We're just 20 miles north of Louisville. Over my shoulder, you see the Henry County High School, the middle school not far behind. Literally a destructive sight, almost as though a bomb has went off there. Emergency crews are still on the scene here in Henry County. Let me show you, as we look at some video from across the day, what the latest press conference said. And that was with Sergeant Jerry Gooden from the Indiana State Police, and also Clark County Sheriff Danny Rodden, saying that the work continues tonight. Search and rescue crews will be going house by house over 100 square plus mile area to make sure that the folks that have not been accounted for are, as the night goes on and into the day tomorrow. You can imagine that difficult task at night as night has fallen. Now, for folks that may be interested in knowing if the loved ones that they're looking for have shown up, or if they're looking for loved ones that have not, they are creating an area at the Monroe Township Volunteer Fire Department for those individuals. Again, Monroe Township Fire Department, a critical place to help find and locate the missing. A shelter has been moved from Charlestown High School to the Monroe Township Fire Department area that they will take you to. They say they have plenty of help. All the folks who have reached out across the area saying, we want to help, we're coming to Henryville to help out, they're saying, no, please just stay put, and they will put out a plea to that help as it is needed. Now, Wave 3's John Bowl was here and had a picture of the damage in the daylight. John?
Some saw it.
We looked outside the window, and there was a massive tornado. It's coming, looked like it's coming across the knobs and towards Henryville.
Some felt it.
He said, here it comes.
It come over the hill, and you could see the debris swirling around, and we come in the house, went back into the hallway. I had a mattress that put up in there, and we stood right at that mattress and rode her out.
It happened so fast, and your mind is so numb.
Everybody is living it now.
They wiped out the school.
A high school, a middle school, and an elementary school, all leveled. Look at this shell of a school right here. Cars flipped over on their side. Buses rolled several times. A school bus shoved across the street and shoved right into that home right there. Is everyone accounted for?
Right now, we are accounting for everyone we can. And obviously, we've got mass chaos.
Police go house by house, checking off the ones without bodies inside. The lucky ones are just carried into the only structure still intact, a church turned into a triage unit.
There's gas leaks. The houses are all completely demolished back there. Completely to the ground.
Homes that survived the twister looked like they were strafed by huge bullet holes. There were tennis ball-sized hailstones that smashed out scores of cars, too. Weird scenes, like a canoe folded neatly in half over a downed wire. Sad scenes, as 4 homes in the same family, all destroyed. It's enough to make even the normally stoic state trooper break down.
We've got a terrible tragedy here, and we've got to try to deal with it.
The images hardest to erase are the chalkboards and chairs and buses and everything else associated with 3 destroyed schools.
And I just want to graduate, and most kids my age hate school, but I love school and I like learning.
Now they're learning the hard way. A tornado doesn't discriminate. As the sun sets on a broken water line that looks like a sprinkler, the only lights that still work are red and blue, and a white dome light still shining in one of the smashed cars peeking out from inside Henryville High. Working for you, John Bowl, Wave 3 News.
That was John Bowl reporting. I'm joined by Clark County Sheriff Danny Rodden here. And Danny, this is just, you grew up here. You know what this is like to look around a community that you're familiar with, but to see it in the shambles that we have tonight must be heartbreaking.
To say the least, it's very heartbreaking. It's just, you're just in shock. You're numb. My heart goes out to all the families up here, and but I just know how resilient the people of Clark County are. They're great Americans, and they're going to bounce back, and we'll pick up the pieces and make it work again. It's just a sad thing, but the good Lord does things like this. And can't figure it out, but we just keep on going.
Let's talk about the folks that are still missing and unaccounted for. We still have several. This is still an operation that's ongoing with the emergency personnel going behind us now.
Yeah, and that's just not necessarily do we know of people that are missing, but we're just trying to make sure and try to go to every place we can for those that are accounted for. We just did locate a woman who had a wall fall on her a couple blocks away. We got to her. She's 67 years old, just had back surgery, but we're able to get her rescued, and that kind of stuff's just going to keep happening. And I'm afraid we don't have a big list of people that are unaccounted for yet, but I know that's going to go on through the night.
Let me ask, I know there are a lot of local police, fire, EMS, also state and federal agencies here as well.
Yes, we've been got great support from all over the place. And it's just going to keep coming. We're very blessed. We've got great cooperation. Everybody's working together. Our agency's kind of small. We're 36 people, including me as police officers, but we've gotten offers of help from everywhere under the sun. And everybody's working well together. It's a great team effort.
Sheriff, we appreciate your coming out tonight. Thank you. We're glad. Thank you, and we'll be in touch. Okay, let's go to Wave 3's David Williams. He's been here in Henry County and across the area as well. David, your latest report.
Kevin, now that night is here, it is just sinking in at how much damage this tornado really has caused here in Henryville today. This, for example, used to be a pet grooming facility. The bricks and mortar and things still strewn about and lying around. I talked to the owner who was here not long ago. She was trying to find things that she could salvage. She found a pair of rain boots, which she said made her night. Earlier today, I talked to a few people who had their cars damaged by hail and another woman who rode out the storm inside her home. She says she was happy that she and her family was alive. And people said it will take a very long time to recover, and it'll be a while, but Henryville will recover. Working for you in Henryville, Indiana, David Williams, Wave 3 News. It began Friday afternoon with wind, rain, and hail as we took cover under an overpass on I-65 just miles north of Henryville. When we got to the town hit hard, we saw Courtney Freeman and other drivers whose cars were badly damaged by very large hail.
And all of a sudden, just softball-sized hail just started just coming out of nowhere. Just bam, 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 busting windows. And
a significant tornado tore through Henryville, destroying much of the town. Tractor trailers and cars tossed like toys. The junior-senior high school destroyed. Everyone inside got out safely.
Oh, they're in. Thankfully that they let them out early, because if they didn't let them out early, I can't even imagine what would have happened.
What did happen, still hard to believe. Brandy Burton rode the storm out inside her home.
He just had 2 seconds just to get into the hallway, and he had put a mattress up, and we was hit. When it hit us, I didn't even know that it was this bad. I had no idea.
It was bad. Emergency crews and civilians rushed to aid whomever they could. Valerie Way stood watching and crying, waiting to hear from family.
I want my family to be okay. And I look at this poor family across the street. I hope she's okay.
We're told several people died in Indiana and several people were injured in Henryville.
It's really hard to do it.
This will be hard to recover from.
Many people telling me they will recover. Working for you live in Henryville, David Williams, Wave 3 News.
David Williams reporting from here in Henryville, and the scenes from across the area and the sounds from just what you've heard are plentiful, with people still looking for loved ones in places, trying to find shelter for the night because they've been put out of their homes because of the very powerful winds, just like this home over my shoulder that has half of the roof blown off. The scene like this is very common right here across portions of Clark County, all up and down this area of Henryville. It has been changed forever now that this powerful tornado has ripped through the area. Still no official declaration of how fast the winds have been, but let me give you my expert opinion on what I think. As looking at some of this damage, I would have said winds had to have exceeded 180 to near 200 miles an hour to do some of the damage that we've seen here. The Department of Homeland Security is on the place. Police personnel are working to secure the area in addition to go home to home, as the sheriff mentioned, to just check and make sure that all people are accounted for here across portions of Clark County tonight. We're live in Clark County and across the area on what's been a devastating day. We'll have more from here. I had a chance to talk with the Weather Channel's Jim Cantore. I'll fill you in what he and I discussed coming up in just a bit.
All right, Kevin, thank you. And devastating, certainly the word. I know what my heart feels like right now, so I can't even imagine what those who have truly been affected feel like.
Yeah, and it doesn't get much better as you head east into Jefferson County, Indiana. Elizabeth Donatelli was in the town of Chelsea.
The Jefferson County Sheriff tells us half a dozen to a dozen homes in this area in Chelsea were affected, but this one right here, a particularly terrible story. 3 fatalities on this property where just a foundation remains. The house itself was blown something like a half a football field away. You can barely see it, not just because it's dark outside, but it appears to be barely a house still and in terrible conditions. And we also learned that one of the victims in this, a 4-year-old boy, that's from the sheriff. Now, we actually spoke with a family friend who tells us that boy was in his mother's arms and was ripped out during the storm. That mother and her daughter did survive. However, the children's great-grandparents were also victims in the storm.
Hardworking. I mean, these folks have worked hard every day of their life. You know, they're hardworking farming family, and just good people, you know. And say our community's lost some really good people tonight, and it's hard on everybody.
There was also one other fatality just down the road. The sheriff tells us an adult man also passed away. Working for you in Chelsea, Elizabeth Donatelli, Wave 3 News.
All right, Liz, thank you very much. Information like that, the hardest part of the story. Now, our live team coverage of the tornado outbreak continues next. We're heading to Marysville, Indiana, where the initial reports were devastating.
We'll also go live to Pekin, plus a happy reunion for a Southern Indiana family who lost almost everything, but is so grateful for what was left behind. A lot of people in our area just stunned and, of course, devastated tonight in Washington County, Indiana. 4 people were also killed there.
Yeah, some of this information just almost hits you in the gut. We have been in Pekin, Indiana, most of the day. Katie Bauer started there. Our own Connie Leonard there now with more information. Connie?
Guys, Sheriff Claude Combs tells me tonight that Washington County certainly has seen its share of tornadoes over the years, but this is the deadliest. 4 dead, 4 critically injured, 8 to 9 other people taken to local hospitals with less serious injuries. Of those who died, that the sheriff tells us that he believes 1 is an infant, 1 is a child, and 2 adults. Now, they were killed in their home off Old Pekin Road, and that's where Wave 3's Katie Bauer and photographer Dean O'Neill got there right after it happened. That storm came in just after 3 o'clock, and you guys were in that area for a good part of the day. And what damage there, Katie?
I know, really, Connie, the tornado leveled about a 1/4 mile stretch here in Pekin, and it's one thing to see the video and to see the pictures, but to really see the damage firsthand, it's just unbelievable, the destruction that was done here in Washington County, and to learn that 4 people were killed, just what a tragic day here in Pekin. In the small town of Pekin, Indiana, devastation hit home.
We were in her basement. She had a basement, and it just devastated it. My truck is under trees up there.
This woman took shelter with her husband and her daughter's mother-in-law. Both were seriously injured after the storm.
2 of the concrete blocks that took the house, but they fell over on him and her, and they say they're going to have to amputate her toes, and it's got his leg, and he's in critical condition, and he's waiting for a flight to the University of Louisville.
Businesses and homes were flattened right off of Highway 60 near Voiles Road. Debris left everywhere.
I pulled in here to warn Dad, and it all came down on top of me and him.
Jason Martin, his dad Steve, and another man were at this lumberyard warehouse Friday afternoon.
We went into the warehouse here, and that's where we spent it till we climbed out.
We was trying to figure out where to hide, which way to run.
Normally, more than 20 workers would be here, but today is an off day.
They coming behind Pekin and came through and tried to race in here to tell him my house was behind it, it's going. But, I mean, we're all here.
Just 300 yards away.
The only thing of my places left is the back porch.
Neighbors were left searching for anything that could be salvaged. Thankful they made it out alive.
Got a lot of good friends. We still got our family. What more can we ask for? God's with us. He'll help us.
And even though Jeannie Llewellyn's home no longer stands, her heart breaks for the lives lost.
I just wish some of the other neighbors around here would have came. You know, we had a basement if they would just came in.
Just another reminder of how important it is to take those severe weather warnings seriously and how you really need to get in your safe place, Connie.
Yeah, absolutely, Katie. And, you know, the sheriff tells us that they have actually stopped the search and rescue efforts for the evening. They tell us that they believe they have found everybody who was originally unaccounted for. They have found them, so that's great news as far as that is concerned. They will start assessing the damage first thing in the morning. They will have a lot of crews out here helping. They said neighbors have been helping. They did, though, want to talk a little bit about what a tragic day it has been here in Pekin. Here's what the sheriff and his neighbors had to say.
To one shot.
Started thundering and lightning, and the wind got up a little bit, and clouds started coming through, real black clouds, and opened up just like a white cloud. Just went right straight.
It is a small community, and everybody knows everybody. And the sad part about this is that I'm almost positive, and I don't know the exact age, but I do know we lost a very young child out here tonight, at least one and maybe two, and that's terrible. I mean, anybody dies, it's terrible. But when you lose a baby or a 8 or 9 year old, that's just a tragic loss.
It's a tight-knit community.
Tight-knit community, very tight-knit. We're all family. I mean, it's, you know, there's good, there's bad, but that's everywhere. You know, things like this happen, everybody pulls together.
Okay. And they certainly did. I tell you guys today, the sheriff also told us that this tornado that I mentioned came in just after 3 o'clock, also came in on Horners Chapel Road and went out on Horners Chapel Road. Tonight, anyone in this area who needs help can go to the Salem Senior Center. They've sent up a help center over there. Anybody who needs it can get it there. Some roads are still closed tonight around the area. That's because several power lines are still down. So they ask anybody who doesn't need to be out to please stay at home. Janelle and Dawn.
All right, thanks, Connie. A lot of work ahead of a lot of people, and they're going to do it with a heavy heart. And as you follow all the damage, you can almost map out the path the most dangerous part of this storm took.
Yeah, Wave 3's Matt McCutcheon continues our live team coverage from Marysville. That's in northeastern Clark County. Matt?
Good evening to you. Marysville Hardware Company right behind me has become the makeshift Marysville Town Hall as it actually blew down as a result of the storm. In fact, Blackberry Trail and all of Marysville blacked out as the power is off. That's the only area that has electricity thanks to a generator. Road closed signs remain all over this small town. In fact, this one held up by an impromptu bag of dirt. People improvising and doing what they can. OE3 photojournalist James Thomas was the first on the ground here and shows us what everything looks like in the daylight after the tornado touched down.
Tell me nobody was home. That's all I want to hear.
Me and Nancy was home. But God jumped over our house.
No, I'm sorry.
I just got off work. I'm just
you're fine.
Blew my house down, my garage. I was in the kitchen, just
trying to wait it out. The wall itself is about a foot thick, or 16 inches or something like that, and I was right there. And it saved us. My wife was in the bathroom, but it didn't bother it, that part of it any. The whole house was just shaking. I mean, really shaking. And time I got done, there wasn't too much standing, you know.
Who's your buddy?
Gabby. I was holding on to her for dear life.
I was at lockdown with my granddaughter at Charlestown High School. She's in an a cappella singing group, and they were in Jeffersonville, and they were a little late getting back. Otherwise, we would have been home. There's not much left. It's pretty destroyed. Our neighbors are destroyed her house, but she wasn't home either, so we're okay. It's amazing. It's a blessing. It truly is a blessing that nobody was hurt.
It come right across that field over there, and I thought it was coming right straight toward us, but it kind of took a curve back that way to the left, and it took pretty much that whole side of the town down. When they say it sounds like a freight train coming through, they mean it, and that's exactly what it is. It's the first time I've ever been in a tornado, and I hope it's my last.
Can we get back in there, or will they?
It can be replaced.
Everything can be replaced, thank God. Everybody's safe.
And despite those dramatic images, no one died, no one hurt here in Marysville. Police continue going around this area, state police and several other neighboring police agencies, just to make sure everyone is safe and that there's no one looting here in this area. Working for you live at Marysville, Indiana tonight at 11, Matt McCutcheon, WAVE 3 News.
Wow, what a day. You know, we sit here and we provide all these hours of coverage, and the goal is to get it, you know, for 100% of us to walk out of there scot-free. And, you know, I'm not thinking about the ones that were able to heed the warnings. We're thinking about the ones we've lost. It's kind of a tough night for us in the weather department because of that. But fortunately, the storms are over. But look at all of the storm reports that came in. That's a map I've never seen around here with that kind of total. I mean, literally probably 200 of them on that map over the course of the last, well, really 8 to 10 hours, with the most concentrated area of tornadoes, of course, as we've been covering all evening, up across parts of Clark County, Jefferson County, Indiana, and then into Trimble County, Kentucky. But there were so many other reports of hail and high straight line winds that caused damage in areas as well. This is going to be one of those that we're not soon going to forget. The line of storms just now exiting southeast Kentucky, and we've heard of a number of fatalities in southeast Kentucky as well. So I guess the rest of our state, by comparison, kind of came off lucky in this particular situation. Now it's getting cold. We're in the low 40s, and with these winds up around 15 miles per hour, wind chills are in the 30s tonight. We hit 74 before the storms rolled in. That was obviously sufficient fuel to get them going. All right, we're just clearing our skies out for tonight. We'll see some sun for a while tomorrow. I think clouds will roll in tomorrow afternoon, mainly just some high, thin clouds. Believe it or not, our next chance of precipitation coming in on Sunday may actually end as a little period of light snow. I don't think we're going to see any kind of a winter storm, but certainly some light snow a possibility Sunday night. All right, for the rest of tonight, mostly clear skies down to 37 degrees, and then your 7-day forecast has us in the 40s tomorrow, only around 40 on Sunday. We're back in the 60s, but fortunately, no mention of any additional thunderstorms for the next 4 or 5 days. We're going to send it back live now to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned up in Henrysville. Kevin?
Andy, thank you, and what a day it's been for our team, and now watching and kind of just taking in the damage that's been done. You see some of the emergency personnel still rolling into Henryville here. We're noticing the searchers just behind us going door to door with flashlights. You can clearly see that this is still a work in progress here across parts of Clark County. Shelters have been set up, as we've mentioned, and the work, the debris, and all of the picking up will take months to come. So again, from Henry County, you can see behind me one of the most visible structures here that's been destroyed, and just within minutes the students were released from that building as it collapsed earlier today under the effects of what had to be some incredible winds with that massive tornado that pushed through this area of Clark County right here in Henryville. So guys, we have a lot of stories coming from here. We're going to share with you in our next half hour of news some of the officials' words on what to do and where to go and so forth. And I talked to Jim Cantore. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Kevin. In fact, the Red Cross has opened 4 shelters right now for those with damaged homes.
Yeah, we've got those details and more coming up next at 11.
Just incredible destruction. Entire towns gone. That's how people across the Tornado Alley are describing the aftermath of today's tornado outbreak.
And Indiana was not the only state to suffer. Today's severe storms spawned dozens of tornadoes this afternoon from Indiana to Tennessee. After hitting southern Indiana, the storm moved south and east into Nashville and Chattanooga, Tennessee, with the same disastrous results.
It started thundering and lightning, and the wind got up a little bit, and clouds started coming through, real black clouds, and opened up just like a white cloud, just went right straight through.
The Tennessee Valley Authority said tonight that 10 major transmission lines were out of service, putting an estimated 31,000 customers out of power in North Alabama, Western Kentucky, and Southeast and Middle Tennessee.
Back in Kentuckiana, the American Red Cross is making arrangements for everyone who needs a place to stay after today's tornadoes. It's now opened 4 shelters. Now, that Charlestown High School shelter that we've been told about before, Kevin says that's been moved to the Monroe County Township Fire Department. Also, the LIDE, White Memorial Boys and Girls Club in Madison, the Morgan Community Center in Bedford, and the American Legion in Salem. These are all the places you can go for shelter, as well as food and minor first aid. And the Red Cross is also accepting donations to fund its work here and other disasters around the world. You can text the words Red Cross to 90999. It will make a $10 donation. We have that information again and more detailed information on where to find the shelters. Just go to wave3.com and click I saw it on Wave 3.
Now, there's so much that we have not gotten to yet.
Our expanded special tornado outbreak newscast continues after this.
Working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 11.
Lives are forever changed after storms rip through Kentuckiana. Tonight, the death toll is now more than 24 in 3 states.
Yeah, Wave 3 went on the air for the first warning we stayed on as residents got a first look at the damage. The death toll in southern Indiana alone right now stands at 14. Tonight, our live team coverage continues on the ground as rescue efforts still underway at this late hour.
Yeah, we begin by checking in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett. He is live in Henryville, where efforts are still going on. Kevin?
It was something yesterday we are afraid would unfold as we were under a very intense area of low pressure that would be moving in, a high-risk area of severe weather. The tornado watch came out throughout the afternoon hours, and then the storm started popping into the early afternoon, and we tracked this one storm nearly all the way across southern Indiana. The track of this storm was amazing, and especially when you look at the number of tornadoes that we've seen on this early March day, we've probably seen as many in one day as we should have seen throughout the entire month of March. We're in Henryville. You can see behind me work continues at the high school where fire crews and emergency personnel are still sifting through some of the rubble tonight. They do believe that they do have everyone accounted for, but that is not stopping the work tonight. Moments ago, we finished up with a press conference with Indiana State Police and Sergeant Jerry Gooden.
As we continue into the night, obviously it's very dark. We still continue into a search operation. We're still in full search operation mode at this time. We are going to continue to hit every county road that we know of that there's homes on and search those homes. And again, we will be checking the homes with paint with a check mark to let the people know as they drive by that that home has been checked and everything is clear.
You know, we had the sirens going off everywhere. We had people moving. We had, schools were shutting down early. We had, people, it was just, what do you do? I mean, we're just blessed that we've only had the damage that we've had.
That was Clark County Sheriff Danny Rodden, and indeed, when you look around the town of Henryville, a whole lot of damage, and they are still searching house by house. When you look at the scope of the damage, daylight tomorrow may bring a whole different picture. I caught up with the Weather Channel's Jim Cantori to get his thoughts on what the daylight may bring.
I really don't think that they've gotten to all these homes. I mean, there's a massive search and rescue effort underway, and I really think this death toll is going to climb. I mean, these storms moved so fast, 50, 60 miles an hour. You know, I fear the worst. I remember.
And, you know, when we get the daylight tomorrow, that really will shed the light on what's to come. We get, you know, less chaos and more understanding of the missing and the people who still need to be accounted for. Again, the scenes here in Henryville are unbelievable. Janelle and Dawn.
All right, Kevin, thank you, and we'll join you again in just a bit. And there's devastating news out of Morgan County tonight. Multiple fatalities have been reported. Officials say that many people were inside businesses when the storm hit. Now, Governor Steve Beshear has authorized the deployment of 50 Kentucky National Guard troops and a mobile guard unit to Morgan County to assist with storm recovery efforts. Now, officials say they are still working to determine how many people have been killed and how many others have been injured. Reports say that West Liberty has essentially been leveled. And back in Louisville, dozens of people had to be flown to the hospital following today's storms. Now, many families are looking for loved ones, and we're told if you are looking for an adult, you can go to St. Francis Church, that's in Henryville. If you're looking for a child, again, we've given this information, you want to go to the community center, and that's on US 31.
In the age of smartphones, so many of you are documenting what you saw as the storms hit, and you shared it with us. Now, this is from our own Wave 3's David Williams. He shot it as he and photographer Jeff Knight took shelter as they tried to head to Henryville as the storm was upon them. He estimates they were 5 miles away from touchdown, but many of you were much closer.
Right towards the school.
In Salem, as well as all over Kentuckiana, people grabbed their phones and cameras and watched as storms forced their way through our area. Tom Starks took this picture of the tornado that formed in Trimble County. Mike Isabel captured the same storm as it formed on video. Some of the most dramatic pictures come to us from Borden. Josh Ablove took this picture. This video shows the same tornado. Watch as the one ominous funnel cloud spins off a second as it tears through southern Indiana. Watching those videos, it's just eerie. In fact, some of the silence on it, and then you can hear the rain pelting in other videos. If you still have pictures or videos that you'd like to share, you can upload them to the Wave 3 Facebook page or also send them to Pix, P-I-X, at wave3.com.
You know, it's amazing, Andy, people talk about what it sounds like and what it feels like. I don't think if you just haven't been there, you're not going to get it. I don't think you're going to get it. Yeah.
No, not at all. You know, we've heard several people hear the train sound that you always hear with strong tornadoes, and that was the case again today. And we've got some amazing stats we'll share with you here in a little bit about how many tornadoes there have been across the country today. Very, very unusual. And one thing you're going to have to deal with now overnight tonight, it's getting colder out there. You know, it was in the 70s when these storms hit. We're now down into the low 40s. And it looks like we're going to stay pretty cold here for the overnight hours. Upper 30s, low 40s, and wind chills, believe it or not, are an issue as well. Wind chill factors may be falling into the low to mid 20s by tomorrow morning. So that's another thing that we're going to have to deal with as daybreak hits and the rescue operations get underway. And we continue to establish just how much damage we have. So it's going to be kind of cold for the weekend as the cleanup efforts continue. Janelle, Dawn?
All right. Thank you, Andy. And, you know, we had so many people who went out to cover this storm, including Kent Taylor.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story.
It is an amazing story for a family who thought they lost absolutely everything, but there was something left. We'll share that story with you when we get back. Certainly all hands on deck here at Wave 3 as we work to cover the outbreak of the severe storms.
Kent Taylor headed up the road to Henryville, and he is here now with what he saw. Kent?
Well, Janelle and Don, when we started to hear the reports of the damage in Henryville, Kendrick Haskins and I jumped in the car, grabbed a camera, and as you said, headed up to Henryville. Bumper-to-bumper traffic. As we got closer and closer to the exit, we started to see some cars pulled off to the side of the road with the windshields busted out by the hail. And then when we finally made it to the Henryville exit, we saw damage unlike anything I've ever seen before.
There it is, hitting the Marathon right there. That's Marathon going up in the air.
Jeremy saw it all, the funnel cloud heading for his house, and he pulled out his iPad and filmed it.
As soon as the tail touched down, I seen it cross 65, and you could just see it sucking the tractor trailers. Like, you could see all the debris coming from the ground up into the tornado, and it just pretty much leveled the whole area.
Just as you exit I-65 at Henryville, the destruction hits you. Homes leveled, buses flipped over, semis on their side, hail the size of baseballs, a gas station demolished, the pumps carried across a street. For Steve Stoffregan, the damage included just about everything he owns.
I didn't see it. I just got here from working in Louisville. I came home and it's across the road now. And there was a White House right there, and it's not there anymore either. All this stuff you see right here is the back room of my house.
Steve and I walked down to survey the damage.
This red car, I think it came from up there at the gas station, or that plot.
His family is safe, the material things can be replaced, and in the middle of all of the rubble, there are two dogs, Trigger and Tyson, scared out of their minds, but alive.
What are their names? This is Trigger, and that one's Tyson. She was hiding under all the debris. I guess she was
Are they your dogs or their parents?
This one's mine, that one's my parents.
Oh my God. Steve's parents, who did live right next door to them, their house also completely demolished. They were at home, but luckily had evacuated to a nearby church. Janelle, Dawn.
All right. Thanks, Kent. Governor Mitch Daniels is expected to arrive in our area tomorrow. Tonight, he issued a statement saying despite improvements in disaster preparedness on those warning systems, sometimes we still can't prevent tragedy. He continues, our every thought is with those we've lost and those who have suffered. We're hopeful that we know the full extent of the damage, but it will be tomorrow before we can give a final report with any confidence.
Well, still to come on Wave 3 News at 11:30. These storms left a path of destruction across Kentuckiana.
Tonight, we're going to take a look at the moments that have left so many speechless. Well, there's no way to neatly wrap up or finish the story of this devastation tonight. We're going to be recovering and recounting the events for some time to come.
But before we wrap things up on this evening, I'd like to leave you with a different point of view. It is a bird's eye view above Henryville Junior Senior High School. Aerial images of what's left behind from Friday's devastating storm, other than dark memories and a lifelong lesson they may not have learned in these halls. Life is precious, but with the roof peeled back like the pages of a book and buses and cars scattered like gym toys, it is a lesson that will probably not be forgotten. With everything so out of place, the school bus in the house, after a while, did not even get a second glance. This is home sweet home, although scattered and splintered all over the fields of Chelsea, Indiana. It looks like a war zone, but the opponent was unfair. There was no way to defeat or totally prepare for the power of the wind, hail, and rain. The elements won this time for this moment. As we fly high to get a view of all that has happened in the storm, the destruction, loss of life, fear, there is one thing that you may not see, but it is always there. These small towns, this place we call home, is already hand in hand, helping one another to get up and weather the storm. Now, we have put all the pictures that we have, including video from these storms. Just head to wave3.com and click on I saw it on Wave 3.
Working for you, this is your Wave 3 weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnan.
We'll get to your forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Again, live in Henryville, where the tornado has done a tremendous amount of damage. I wanted to show you some of the automobiles around here, the indentions in the car from large hail. Look at this indention in the windshield. That had to have been occurred by a hailstone about as big as a grapefruit size coming in and pounding out a number of busted windshields. We're standing very close to the high school that was completely demolished, and if you take some of the late night photos here, we were one of the few crews that had the opportunity to visit that location late at night to see the intense damage that took place there. And by looking at some of the video that we've sent back to the station, you can see the flipped over cars mixed into that mess. And you can also notice many of the areas that have just been wiped out near that high school area. A very surreal sight to see. Now, back out here live, you're going to notice in the St. Francis Church, look at this piece of wood that's been impaled right through the roof. This is how fast the winds were blowing, not only sending in the piece of plywood, but the shingles as well, right through that roof. So, guys, it just gives an indication of how strong the winds were here. Andy, you've seen a lot of the damage that we've been showing. What would be your general estimate, knowing and using caution that the official word probably will not come out until sometime tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow before the surveys come out, but I got to believe this is going to be minimum an EF3, and I think it's very possible that at least one of those storms in Clark County will be an EF4. It takes that kind of wind, 150 to 200 miles an hour, to do the type of damage that we have seen. I did a quick check from the Severe Storms Forecast Center lab. They've indicated so far 94 tornadoes today alone over 8 states: Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, down into Alabama, Georgia, Illinois early this morning. And the one storm that we followed, we think, was on the ground for the better part of 45 minutes through Washington County, Clark County, Indiana, and then eventually into Trimble County, Kentucky. We were talking about the potential for long-track tornadoes. This one a little longer than you usually see, for sure, for something to be on the ground that long. Would you believe we have a chance for some snow showers in here at the end of the weekend? It's not going to be a big winter storm, but it may be cold enough for some of these rain showers that we'll get Sunday to end as a little period of light snow. Why not? I mean, it's just piling on top, it seems like. 41 degrees right now. We've dropped over 30 degrees since the cold front went through and the storms went through, and the winds are still fairly gusty, so wind chill factors right now are dropping into the 30s, and they'll be in the 20s by tomorrow morning. The storms have exited the state. They are weakening into West Virginia and Virginia, and our skies are clearing across the area. Now, I think they'll stay clear for most of the night. A good part of tomorrow. High clouds will roll in here tomorrow afternoon ahead of the next system. I'll guarantee you much, much, much weaker than the last couple that have come on through. It will probably just generate a few showers in here on Sunday, and then again with the colder air Sunday night may end as a little period of snow showers or very light snow. So we'll at least get a bit of a break here, and probably no storms for at least the next 4 or 5 days. All right, mostly clear skies overnight, 37 for a low in the city. Only about 45 tomorrow, so it's going to be a cool day, and the 7-day has it even colder on Sunday. Again, a period of light rain or snow late, and then we're back in the 50s and 60s next week, and we're going to wait till at least Thursday before even mentioning the chance of a thunderstorm. We've had enough this week.
I think we've had more than enough.
More than enough.
Yeah. I'm never going to talk about the weather again as long as everybody's safe.
I agree.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay.
We have some breaking news right now. First of all, we have gotten an updated death toll in Kentucky. At least 12 people killed in Kentucky, 14 in southern Indiana, bringing the death toll in 3 states, including Ohio, to 27. Now, we're also told that the Louisville Fire and Rescue and the Jefferson County Fire Service will be sending 2 teams of firefighters and rescue folks to West Liberty. They're going to help out there in the search and rescue recovery efforts. This is close to 30 firefighters who are leaving from here tonight, and they will begin their work as soon as they get there. And we will be right back to wrap things up. You know, in a day of heartbreaking and incredible images, this is probably one of the most incredible I've seen. This is a little bit further out. They're going to zoom in just a second, and you can see that tornado. This was shot from Borden, Indiana. And toward the end of the video, Andy, we've talked about before, this actually spins off and it has another funnel cloud off of this one, which is really incredible. I think that Brian said that it's pretty typical in tornadoes, but you don't always see it where there are two funnels.
That double vortex.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they can spin off into multiple vortices, but you don't see that very often. And there it is right there coming out ahead of it. Just unbelievable. That's a huge tornado. That's got to be close to a quarter mile across. Unbelievable.
Well, something that we don't want to see again for sure. And that one in Borden, Indiana. We appreciate everybody that did send us video. When you do that, though, make sure that you're safe. And for everybody that's just itching to do something, and we appreciate that. Number one, stay with Wave 3 because always working for you in this community. We certainly will help you reach out, especially in the next coming days. But the Red Cross is accepting donations. Text Red Cross to 90999. And also you can help the Salvation Army. Text Hoosier to 80888.
And we, of course, are going to put all the information that we gather on our special section. You can click on I Saw It on Wave 3. It will have all those kind of things because, as we've seen, at times of tragedy like this, our community is pulling together and people are itching to help. So we hope we have given you a little bit more information and we have made this day at least a little bit more easy to understand. I don't know that we'll ever emotionally understand it.
Yeah, so if you can, heads up, give your family a hug, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless.